Have you ever witnessed a moment when the whole world seemed to stop breathing? Just one shot, one point, and suddenly everything changes. The unbreakable wall begins to crack, giants fall, and from the shadows, a name no one knew stands alone in the spotlight. In sports, there are wins that bring joy. But then there are victories that shake the earth. Moments that don't just flip the scoreboard, but fracture long-standing beliefs, sparking questions the world never dared to ask. For decades, table tennis has belonged to one empire, China, a kingdom so complete, so dominant, it felt invincible. But sometimes fate picks the quietest voice to start a revolution, and shocks turn into miracles. In today's episode of Ping Pong Dreams, we relive the moments that made the impossible real. When a silent Ryu Seung-min made the Chinese giants bow, when Karlsson pierced the armor of Zhang Jike, when young Truls Möregårdh spun a fairy tale in an era of steel, when Timo Boll, the aging maestro, played one last brilliant symphony, and when Quadri Aruna, the thunderbolt from Africa, lit up Tokyo with nothing but raw fire in his soul. Welcome to Ping Pong Dreams, where we tell the stories that make your heart race to the rhythm of the ball. Athens 2004, when a giant empire fell to a no-name China, entered the 2004 Athens Olympics as if stepping into their living room. Gold wasn't their goal, it was their destiny. Wang Hao, a rising prodigy with his magical banana flick, was hailed as China's future. Beside him stood Kong Lingui, an Olympic champion, a pillar of legacy, the wise and the wild. Together, they formed the embodiment of invincible China. No one doubted them, not the media, not the fans, not even their opponents. But then came a quiet man from South Korea. No titles, no spotlight, not even considered a medal contender. Ryu Seung-min. He had no flashy technique, no complex tactics, just a powerful forehand and legs that never stopped moving. Ryu faced Wang Hao in the men's singles final. The stands were filled with Chinese supporters. Every prediction favored Wang. But from the very first point, Ryu played like he was avenging every loss Asia had ever suffered to China. He attacked and never stopped. He gave Wang no room to breathe, no chance to control the tempo. Each point felt like a blade slicing through China's confidence. And then, against all odds, Ryu defeated Wang Hao 4-2, claiming Olympic gold. When he dropped to his knees, arms lifted to the sky, the table tennis world shook. A shock, a miracle. A moment even Ryu himself later said, "I didn't believe I'd won until I saw the scoreboard." Karlsson 2015, the dagger that struck a legend, Zhang Jike, China's icon, Olympic champion, World Cup winner, all within 500 days. An untouchable beast with a steel mindset and wild eyes. He was table tennis perfection, a living fear. No one thought a young European could touch him, let alone defeat him. But in the 2015 Swedish Open, Kristian Karlsson, a relatively unknown Swede, did the unthinkable. Zhang started strong, dominant. But Karlsson didn't retreat. He fought like all of Europe's pride rested on his paddle. His two-winged attacks were brutal, his counters deadly accurate. Zhang tried to recover, but something shifted. His fierce eyes began to flicker, not with anger, but with doubt. Then came the final smash. The arena fell silent. Zhang slumped. Scoreboard, Karlsson 4, Zhang 2. It wasn't luck, it wasn't chance. It was courage, precision, and belief took down the legend. Truls Möregårdh 2021, a fairy tale written in Houston when the World Championships landed in Houston. Everyone looked to China and Japan. No one expected a 19-year-old Swede to reach the final. Truls Möregårdh, with his golden hair and unpredictable play, shocked the world. No top seed, no experience. But one thing set him apart, the fearless purity of youth. He took down Franziska, then Calderano, then Timo Boll. Match after match, he defied tactics, rankings, and expectations. When he entered the final against Fan Zhendong, fans started to believe in magic. Even though he lost, Truls became the first non-Chinese finalist in nearly 2 decades. A miracle, a shock, a golden name added to history. Möregårdh. Timo Boll, the last rebel in a world growing colder and more mechanical, one man refused to bow down. Timo Boll. At 37, when most told him to retire, he entered the 2018 European Championships like a lone warrior. In the semifinals against Simon Gauzy, a younger, stronger, hungrier player, Boll was down 0-3. It looked over, but from the depths of his weathered heart, he rose. 1 point, then 2, then 3 straight sets. 3-3. The final set wasn't about technique, it was spirit, blood, fire, and Boll prevailed. The crowd stood, not for the score, but for a fighter, a monument, a man who never fell, not truly. Quadri Aruna, African lightning strikes Tokyo. If you thought only Asia and Europe could shake the table tennis world, look to Africa. Quadri Aruna, from Nigeria, brought one of the most electrifying shocks to the 2021 Tokyo Olympics. He didn't have a sports empire behind him, no grand training facilities, just raw will and hands that hit like thunder. Aruna tore through top seeds. His biggest victory? Defeating Xu Xin, a Chinese titan. Every strike felt like lightning. Unpredictable, unstoppable, unapologetic. The world stood still, not because he won gold, he didn't, but because he reminded us all that belief beats everything. The rise of the outsiders history shows us. Every revolution in table tennis started with someone no one believed in. Gatin, the French daredevil in 1992. Waldner and Persson, the Nordic resistance. Hugo Calderano, Brazil's warrior, breaking into the world's elite. They weren't born into power, but they changed power with sheer force of will. When shock becomes a miracle, there are days when you step into the arena with nothing. No reputation, no experience. Not a single soul believing in you, not even yourself. But if deep inside you carry something unshakable, a dream, a fire, a defiance that says, I'm still here, then you can create a shock that halts the world, that shakes history, that cracks open the unbreakable. You can be like Ryu, on your knees in triumph as an empire collapses. You can be like Karlsson, rewriting fate with one final smash. You can be like Truls, carving fairy tales with fearless hands. You can be like Timo, igniting a flame that refuses to die. You can be like Aruna, a bolt of lightning rising from the shadows, because there are moments when you don't need a championship to earn the world's respect. And if you're listening to this right now, feeling tired, doubtful, or lost, remember, history-changing shocks always begin with one person who dares to believe when no one else does. And sometimes a miracle is simply that. You didn't give up. This is Ping Pong Dreams, where shocks become miracles.